Happy time zone, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. Welcome back to Zelda Speedruns. Great to have you with us this terrific Thursday, there we go, that's what day it is. Today we are continuing our coverage of the Zelda 2 Randomizer Standard Tournament 2022 with this round 3 Swiss match between Paratroopa and Nightshifter, both sitting at 0-2 at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. On track and duties tonight, we have Royale with Cheese, and without further ado, I'll leave you in the wonderful dulcet tones of our of our commentator this evening, Mirai.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Z2R race tonight. This is the first of 3 that we've got happening tonight, and as Psychonaut said, this is an 0-2 match, which means that the loser does not get to advance to brackets, and the winner still has a chance to stay in it. This is week 3 out of week 5. We have 5 total Swiss rounds. It's going to be 3 wins to get into the brackets. And so whoever wins tonight has weeks 4 and 5 to get another win and potentially make their way into brackets. Otherwise, don't worry if you don't. If you're rooting for someone who does not win tonight or in the future goes 0-3, they are going to have a chance to jump into a bonus spin-off tournament called the Naburu Invitational. So there's more Z2R for them if they want it and if you want it. And we are going to get started here shortly as we see the countdown starting. Paratroopa, I believe, took first loss on week 1 against Chroma, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken on that. And then last week, it's hard to forget the race that Para had with Level Engine. That was quite the marathon. So that was a lot of fun. I definitely say go back and watch that one. Might not want to watch it at 1.25 or 1.5 speed, though, because it's a 2-hour race. Regardless, though, that's Para's track record. And then Nightshifter, I forget exactly who Nightshifter went up against in round 1. I think it was Sparkles in round 1. And then it was Big Picket in round 2. Yeah, Big Picket in round 2. So that was rough. That was rough right there. And Nightshifter taking 2 losses there, but hoping to come back in this one. Para is probably a little bit more of a veteran in the Z2R space, so we'll see how everyone performs here. But it looks like Knight's going to be checking north a little bit as Para checks south. It looks like we have a mountainous biome here. We can tell that by the heavy amount of mountains around us. It looks like we have an immediate connection to the east there. Perhaps another mountainous biome. We'll have to see more of it, though. Just saw a large chunk of mountains. That doesn't mean the rest of the biome is going to be dominated by that terrain, though. So we did see a palace on Parasite down here in the south that Knight is about to be showing us. I didn't get a glimpse at it, but we'll get another glimpse at it here in a moment. Finding Fairy Cave and immediately taking that death there, unfortunately. That tends to happen. Looks like our P1 is sitting right there, just southwest of start. That's nice. That's a nice little up and A when you get the things you want. That being the magic key or the fairy spell, you can get into palaces then and just shoot southwest to start and start with something pretty simple, pretty easy. We did see a Saria there, and I don't know if it's going to give us fairy or if we're going to be looking for potentially a Bagoo, as we see these forest tiles kind of strewn across the terrain, these individual forest tiles. One of those is going to be our Bagoo sitting in his cabin, and it looks like we're going to need that if we want to get across Saria, at least from this side, seeing as we see the back of it. But I don't think we're completely blocked out of access just yet. Looks like we can wrap around here. We see a raft tile touching the water as well. So raft could be useful. Raft might not really take us anywhere that we want to go. We'll have to see. Again, very early on in the seed. A lot of stuff to see here. We have our connection to the east. We have a raft tile. Raft tile might just go east as well. We don't know. Could be Death Mountain. Could be Maze Island. Anything's possible with this flag set. It is an anything goes continents connector flag set. So that means that what you're used to seeing when it comes to Death Mountain on the western vanilla continent, those 2 caves that go to Death Mountain, the raft tile goes to the east, the Maze Island bridge goes to Maze Island. We'll see the same landmarks in that regard, but they don't have to go to their vanilla spots. So that is something that we're playing with in this flag set. Just waiting to see what else we can see here. Death Mountain holds the raft. Well, there we go. If we want the raft, we know where to get it. Unfortunately, it's a little ambiguous. When you get the Death Mountain hint, it simply means either Spec Rock or Hammer Cave. There's no specificity there. So if you go into, if you think you're going to need that raft for whatever reason, and we see Death Mountain, it's going to be a gamble if we don't have the hammer, because it's only going to be one of the 2 spots in Death Mountain that we can look for. We do see a 500-point P-Bag there on Parasite, picking that up, taking a few levels. I want to see how much this orange diver is worth. Another 100 on top of that. Para making a trip to the bank. There's the 500 bag for Knight as well. Grass tile for Para. It's going to be a heart. That is, it's nice to see early on. Lets you survive a little bit longer. And Knight trying to figure out where he wants to put these levels. Another 100 bag for him as well. Takes 312. That is an area code in Chicago, by the way. 312. 223. Probably another area code somewhere in the United States I'm not familiar with. I am not the Yellow Pages. Here we have the Maze Island Bridge, which goes to our islands, Death Mountains. We have 3 connectors so far on the west. Unless we see the 4th cave over on the west, then that means it's going to be somewhere else. But if we do, that means the west is going to be our full-on hub for today. 223 is Pennsylvania. For anyone who cares, we've got tracking and we've got the Googler. This is the all-star team right here. Also, Royale on tracking. You didn't mention Royale with cheese on tracking. Props to her. Hanging out, watching these runners, paying more attention to them than I will, probably. We'll be referring back to Royale's expertise probably numerous times throughout this. So we do see that hammer-blocked cave there. Don't know if this thing, anything of use there. I don't remember which direction Fairy Cave was pointing. That could be the exit to Fairy Cave for all I know right now. But we're not dead in the water just yet. We're not being forced into our island's Death Mountain. We did poke around a little bit on Parasite there, it looked like. Or one of our runners, I think it was Parasite, that didn't see anything of interest right off the bat. If you see that early hammer cave, sometimes it's worth the dig. Other times, not so much. They don't have a lot of levels, so if there are some tough enemies in that hammer cave, they can be pretty packed on the first and second screens, and you might find yourself getting beat up a little bit. 200 bag as well. So 500 bag, 200 bag in the drop pool. Those are pretty nice to see. Like they're going to see that right on Knight's side. Don't take the death, Knight. All right, great. You take the death with the bag on the floor, the bag is gone. You do not get that back. And for anyone who's not familiar with Z2R here, we're playing with something called standardized drops, which means that we're going to see the exact same drops at the exact same time in each of the drop pools between the 2 runners. That obviously keeps things very fair between them. And it would be completely unfair if one of our runners saw several 500-point B-bags and the other runner found a bunch of blue jars. That's just not really comparative or equal there. So we do have something called standardized drops where the randomizer writes specifically the drop tables, the drop pools for each of the large and small enemy drop pools. And that's going to be static across the game. It all is random how many items are in the drop pool, how often they drop. I think it's anywhere between like 4 to 7 enemies you might see drops. And how many ever items are in there? Probably 4 to 6, maybe more at times. We also see the key. Oh, I thought that key was ungrabbable, but it was able to be picked up by Paris. So there are keys in the drop pool. That's nice to see as well. If we have an expensive fairy that we run into, an expensive fairy cost on the spell, then having keys in the drop pool is going to be nice. Red Iron Knuckle here. Red Dyra worth 100. We're seeing Palace 2 there on Knight's side. We also saw the other side of Saria, so it doesn't look like we're required to get Bagu today unless we want sort of a shortcut. It was kind of a walk around there. What do we have? We've got Jump in Saria. We know that from before. We did see the other palace. We did see our 3rd palace, I believe, just west of where Palace 2 was. Or I'm completely mistaken, and that's North Palace. I might be a little turned around here. As Para looks like she's a little turned around, kind of coming back to the Saria side of things here, where Knight has gone a little bit more north and west. I'll be picking up Jump here for Knight, doing a little graveyard fighting for Para here. Maybe looking for a level, maybe not. I don't know. Jump is 25 at Magic 2. It's an early game spell. You never expect it to be too expensive. Every once in a while, it's a little higher than 64. It's something like Magic 1, but it quickly comes down. That's what you can expect from a lot of the spells in the game. They just kind of follow the vanilla pattern that early game spells will start cheap. Late game spells will start expensive. If you pick them up in the early game in the randomizer, something like Spell, Fire, Thunder, all tend to be very expensive when you first pick them up. That includes Fairy as well. So if you do see a Fairy spell that we're going to be picking up from a town somewhere for free, then you're going to be wanting to level that magic up a little bit, bring that Fairy cost down. Everything is at some point guaranteed to be castable, not necessarily on 4 magic containers, but it's castable at some level. So there's GP. So we've got 1, 2, and GP on the west. We're seeing a whole bunch of stuff. Para kind of showing us somewhere we haven't seen before. Not entirely sure. Para doesn't have Jump. I don't believe. And so if this is Mito, not going to be able to grab downstab. It is not Mito, and it is, I don't know. It's Raru, but I don't know what spell we're getting here. We're just going to go in and grab it no matter what. Yeah, I mean, that's a strategy that some runners have, that if they're just willing to pick up any spell, you know, just grab the spell that's for free. Don't waste the 2 seconds it takes to check the town name. So I'm going to say that is North Palace there, just west of Palace 2. I think we'll get a different check on Knight's side, unless I'm completely turned around and we're back on the east or something like that. I don't think so, but let's see what spell we've got in the Raru here on Para's side. Magic will strengthen his shield. That's going to be Reflect for Para. 57 in Magic 3, not too bad. Heart for Knight in whatever cave this was. Pillar Cave? Yeah, Pillar Cave. Pillar/P-Bag Cave. The vanilla P-Bag Cave, but there's a few P-Bag caves. There's 2 P-Bag caves on the east as well. So to help differentiate between all of those, we sometimes call this Pillar Cave with these little these pillars are those spikes there in the front. So yeah, this looks like this was completely accessible right from North Palace there. Both of our runners did go south, though, to start. And so had we seen one runner go east and one go south, we would have seen more of the west very early on. And that's interesting. So all that talk about Bagu and all that nonsense, you can just throw that out right out the window. We're going in Jump Cave for Nightshifter here. This is going to be a 3-screen cave in the dark. Life 3, 6 heart containers. Probably shouldn't be too bad, especially attack 3 as well. Can be a little busy here in these little corridors, especially with the gorillas. Can be a little tricky, especially if you run into like a red Daira or something in these corridors. Probably that's going to be a death for Knight. Does not get the kill on the Moblin. He did get one of those gorillas down, though. And that means when you don't get the kill on the Moblin, they'll be back. They'll be back until you start to see the experience count up from killing the enemy. You don't get the full kill on it, and so at that point, if you die, you'll have to fight the enemy again. So did Para find Bagu? I'm going to say Para did. I think I just saw Para talk to Bagu. Yes, he was in his nice red vest, and so we're going to go across. Para might be a little disappointed when she learns that this was accessible right from just the eastern side of the west. The east coast there did show us, as Knight had shown us, that we can get around. So Para's going to be picking up her jump spell here as Knight goes through Jump Cave. Is there anything up here of interest? There is. This looks like our Mito through a Jump Cave here with Jump. Knight going to be first to get downstab. Now Fairy Town is here in Mito. That means we're going to need the medicine. Haven't seen the medicine yet. We do have 2 surrounding caves though. So it is worth maybe trying to step out of Mito real fast, check these other caves, see if they're the item caves, and see if the medicine is just sitting in one of these caves. Because at this point, if it is, and it's kind of a big if, but if it is, Knight's going to come in here, he's going to grab downstab. He's going to get downstab, he's going to walk to the 3rd screen, he's going to talk to the woman, she might say that the medicine is on the west. And at that point, it might just be sitting in a cave right next to Mito. And so if it is, he'll have to walk back in here again, all 3 screens, and then turn in the medicine. So I don't know. To save a little bit of time, that is sometimes a thought in the back of your mind. He was very low on health, though, so he did want to come in here to begin with and just talk to the life lady. So I guess he just committed to where he was going. Go east. Go east. Okay, so not west. So would not have paid off dipping out of Mito to check these item caves that surround us here. We'll see if Para wants to go to a different continent first, maybe back to Death Mountain, maybe over to the east. I don't know if she's going to be going through Jump Cave. I don't know if it's actually required. We do see a little skinny green grass path leading north. I don't know if that's actually going to take us around to where Knight is. I don't know if Jump Cave was required. We don't have the full picture of this continent just yet, although we're getting there. This is going to be a heart for Para, and this is going to be Magic Container Cave for Knight with a red Daira there sitting in that little corridor. He's going to stab him in the face a few times, hope for the best. Oh, going to be jumping, jump strats. There's another axe. Oh, that's not good. This could be bad. So if Knight dies up here, this is going to be a game over. He'll be sent back to North Palace, and he'll have to come all the way back up here again. So we're hoping to be able to get through this. This is not looking good there. That's going to be a game over. We're not going to see what's in Magic Container Cave just yet. We see Shielders and Rudo. So does this wrap around? Is Para going to show us that this wraps around? Seeing GP up here, what else do we have to the north? Okay, so jump cave is going to be required, but Para's going to get to see that on the western side there, see that that's segmented off. So Para's going to have an idea that, hey, if I see a cave going north, right by North Palace, that's going to be probably the way I access that little segment up there. Knight going to be headed back through Jump Cave as well, knowing that there's some valuables yet to be found in Magic Container Cave. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just a one-up. Maybe it's just a jar. Who knows? We didn't get a chance to see it. We did not get far enough. We were just outside of the view of whatever sits at the end of the cave. And so, yeah. At this point, he might be hoping to get a level in here. That would be nice. I think another life level might help him body some of that damage from the Red Dyra. The alternative is, of course, to just fight it. But it can be tricky to fight it if you're not used to fighting those Dyras in the dark. There's some timing on those axes that come out. It seems a little random at times, and sometimes you get the really bad RNG with the double axe. Sometimes the Dyras can toss 2 axes back to back, and that really, really ruins your day when you're trying to fight them in the dark, and you just get smacked. You think you're being fancy, and you jump over 1 axe, and all of a sudden there comes a second axe, and there's no rhyme or reason as to why that happens, as far as I know. That's going to be a Heart Container Cave there for Knight, for taking the first bot from the Moblin right up front, and we'll likely be able to get through this cave. What might stop him, though, is a Red Dyra in the 3rd section of this cave. It's kind of segmented into 3 sections. Moblin right there, something in the middle here. Looks like a Mew. Oh, it is a Red Dyra in the middle, but he gets a nice shot at it there. That is something you can do in Magic Container Cave as well. Bring the Dyra back to the front and just downstab it up against the wall. Looks like it might be a Beanstalk. Yep, there's a Geldarm right there, trolling Knight. As Para kind of investigates the east there just a little bit, but says, nah, we'll be back. Para is going to be coming through the Jump Cave as well. That's going to be a life level for Knight, picking up the 500 bag out of the back of Heart Container Cave. That is that extra life level I was talking about. That would be nice to have. And so he's likely going to try to dig back into Magic Container Cave here in just a moment. There it is. Royale also saying in chat that's exactly what you could do. Lure that Dyra out and just downstab him up against the wall. You can even do that to Gurias or anything. You can lure anything out of Magic Container Cave back to the front and just use the ceiling there to just a nice neutral jump to push right up against the ceiling and downstab to your heart's content. I don't really know how much damage these axes were doing before, but it looks like we actually are taking less damage. Unfortunately, though, that there's a lot going on here, and that axe, yeah, it's going to be fired again, so he's going to take another hit. A lot of these caves can look really kind of bad to newer runners, especially when you watch these other runners just kind of body a lot of damage. He could just, okay. I was going to say, he had the chance to also kind of corner there. The boots! There's the boots. Doesn't matter anymore. He got the item. He's good to go. No real reason to be up here anymore. Might be trying for the level, but that is, I think, going to be a game over for Knight. Also a death for Para. Para picked up a 1-up along the way somewhere, so she's got an extra life there. But, yeah, life 4. Same life level as Knight, so going to be taking the same damage on the Red Dyra. I got to say, though, as a slightly experienced runner, it does really, really help to learn how to fight some of these enemies in certain caves here. Like, even later down the line, like, you could come back to this seed. It's a race right now. It's not time to learn right now. But if you run into this and you realize that, hey, this is a problem I ran into during a race, casual, weekly, whatever it was, save the seed, right? You've already generated the ROM. Come back and play it, or have someone else play it and have them show you how they would, handle that situation, and then you could mirror that behavior in the future. It's just part of the learning process. But Para does not have downstab just yet, so able to pin that Red Dyra up against the wall. Going to get trolled by the Geldarm as well a little bit there. Makes it through, but she does have jump, so she could have checked the town first, but decided to check the caves first, I guess. I didn't see exactly how that all went down. But we do have Knight on the east, and he's going to be, nope, yes, we're staying on the east. Okay, we're going to stay on the east here. It's either east or Islands Death Mountain. Either one, I mean, the east is probably a lot more appetizing for sure. So other than Islands, although he does have the boots, so the Islands Death Mountain might be a good play. But without the hammer, we do have access to only one of the locations, that being Hammer Cave. But the boots are coming in handy here on what looks to be an Islands East here. We did say it could have been mountainous early on, but we didn't see enough of it. Now that we've seen enough of it, we can definitely confirm that this is an islands biome. So those boots are going to be very, very handy. A little tough to get, but very handy here on the east. And I'm glad that no one went east first. Everyone has the boots. Everyone's kind of followed in each other's footsteps here. So we don't have any major advantages between any of our runners just yet, other than Para picking up downstab now as Knight has a little bit of a lead here on the east. I missed what palace that was there right in the graveyard. I was looking at Mito, but it's not GP. So, and I don't think it was 4. So 3 or 6 in the graveyard. Okay. Perfect. We have 1, 2 in GP on the west, 3 or 6 in the graveyard there, 2 more unidentified palaces over here on the east, and then wherever Maze Island is at. Maze Island could be via the raft tile, or again, it could be via the cave that we're still missing, or it could be both of those things. Both of those last 2 transport connector locations could be what take us to Maze Island. And I believe there was a game over from Knight there on the east. If anything, might be headed back to the east, might be headed to Death Mountain. Knight definitely has, I think it was Knight who showed us the hint for the raft in Death Mountain, so I think he's going to make his way over there. I think it was south a little bit more from where he's at, and then there's going to be an option to go east, and Para over here on our eastern islands. Or no, I apologize. This looks more like vanilla-like. This is vanilla-like. This is not an islands biome. My money is on vanilla-like simply because we have these mountain ranges in the way. We talked about vanilla-like a lot, and so we'll talk about it again. Why not? So when it comes to vanilla-like, you're going to have, when the randomizer spits out the continents, it's going to mimic the way that the base game vanilla biomes are segmented. So on the western vanilla continent, you have the area up there by North Palace, and that includes Parappa Desert. And then you have the southern area by Saria, and the southern area by Mito as well. That's all kind of separated by Jump Cave and the boulders, right? So you've got everything north of the first boulder and Jump Cave and everything south from there. And so there's essentially 2 large segments to the west. And if you see a vanilla-like west, you're going to see 2 large segments that are separated by a range of mountains that are able to be gotten through either between little walkways or those pass-through caves, Jump Cave, Fairy Cave, Parappa Cave. And so the same thing happens on the east. You can think that on the eastern vanilla biome, we have the area near Darunia, we have the area in the middle with Naburu, and we have the entire southern section there with P6, New Kasudo, and then Death Valley is kind of its own thing, so it doesn't have to be part of the south. But when the randomizer spits out a vanilla-like east, we also see these segmented areas where we have a northern section, a middle section, and a southern section. And so you're seeing a bunch of caves pointing south there on Para's side. We've seen that some of these are pass-throughs already. These are going to be pass-throughs that are going to take us back, or take us south to the middle section. And then from there, it could be anything. It could be Wilson encounters. It could be the double Darunia encounter that gets used as a pass-through for both mountainous and I guess it gets used as mountainous, islands, and vanilla-like. But we have a vanilla-like east, regardless. I didn't see where Knight is headed. Is Knight headed over to our Death Mountain? I think he's trying to get there. He's looking for water. Looking for water and potential Maze Island Bridge. It's right here. And so Para comes out, hits Naburu. Again, not checking the spell. Para's just going to collect all the spells today, which is fine. Totally viable option. The only reason you might not want something is if you're in the later game and say you're in go mode and you don't need the spell tower. So there might be a reason to skip the spell. If, again, your later game, if there's a life spell locked behind a child somewhere, you won't necessarily walk 3 screens into the Darunia house to talk to the woman to get the hint for the child. You might not care at that point. So there's some reasons to skip spells later in the game, but in the early game, most of the time you pick them up. And that's going to be the spell there in Darunia. Naburu. There's 2 more hints headed to the west, and we're going to see if we get those checks from Para, or if Para is just going to talk to the Life Lady. Okay, so we're going to be checking hints here. I think we're over on the east as well. Here's Sunken Peabag Cave for Knight. showing cities right next to Death Valley as well. Again, Death Valley not really being attached to the southern section of the east can be accessible from the middle section or the southern section, or I guess the northern section as well when it comes to building the Vanilla East and the randomizer. But we see the medicine on Desert Tile there, or that was Desert Tile, correct? Medicine Desert Tile. That's going to be our ferry, regardless. And we do see the candle in Sunken Peabag Cave. So it'll be interesting to see how long we stick around on the east here. It's worth exploring a little bit more, I think, to see what's going on. I think Para's about to run into the double Darunia encounter. We'll see how much she wants to do this. It can be a little tough, especially without ferry and without shield. Has downstab though, and is coming from the high side of things. So nope, says no, I don't want to do it. And we're going to up an A. So you have the option of doing that to go down south. You have the option of doing the encounter skip as well. Or you have the option of just going back to Mito and getting the fairy spell and then getting into palaces. We know we have both Palace 1 and 2 on the west. Again, easy palaces to do. And so it's very likely we'll just see Para grab fairy and just jump into palaces immediately. We're still missing the glove. We don't have a hint on thunder yet, do we? I don't think it's on the west. I think the other thing that's in Rudo is shield. So we're looking at eastern thunder. Could be Darunia, could be child thunder. Could be Nukasudo. I don't think we saw Nukasudo. Yeah, so we get some options. That would have been the main reason to continue exploring on the east, I think, is to see exactly what might have been blocking thunder. Because, well, it can be an issue. If the child is back on the west and you're going to finish the game on the east, you know, having to come back to the west to get the child just to go back to the east again to turn in thunder is kind of a waste of time. But GP is on the west this time, so I don't know if it's that big of a waste of time. It can be. If the child is on the west still in one of the western palaces and we don't get it, then we'll be going back to the west, then go back to the east, only to come back to the west again to go into GP. So a little bit of a troll it can be sometimes if you're looking for those go mode spells and those go mode items. Going to be the fire spell here for Night. This is Old Kasudo, 89, not castable at this point in time. That will come down in the coming levels, though. We did talk about this earlier, about how later game, mid to late game spells tend to start out pretty expensive, even at lower magic levels. Didn't see the cost there for Fairy on Parasite, but probably castable at Magic 4. If not, it will definitely come down by Magic 5. We're back to the east, though, so I'm going to maybe assume that it's not castable. We got a quick pass-through going south, though. 54, we believe. Okay. Thunder and Darunia. Royale pointed that out. We have Night and Darunia here. We're going to see where the child is at. Yeah, there were multiple ways to get down south through this mountain range and into this middle section of the east here. And Para showed us the one side, and it looked like the only way to get out of there was the double Darunia encounter, whereas Night came down through the middle section, and this is everything he's uncovering right now. So he's getting his upstab. Some people like upstab, some people don't. Some people have started a cult around upstab. You may want to avoid those people. I mean, you do you. Upstab is useful where it's useful, but don't go too crazy about it. But here we're going to see where the child's at. East for the child. So what have we seen? We've seen Desert Tile. We've seen Sunken. Have we seen Risen Peabag Cave yet? We have not seen the Water Tile, I don't think. As my voice goes high because I'm not really sure. Either way, we haven't seen New Kasudo, so that's another 2 checks. Our east means there's 6 locations it could be. That's going to be 2 item caves, Sunken and Risen. We've got the Desert Tile. We've got the Water Tile, only accessible with the boots, which we do have. And then New Kasudo, which could be locked behind a Forest Tile today, which means we will need the hammer to get to New Kasudo. I don't know. We don't have confirmation on that just yet, as we see us checking Forest Tiles on both of our runners. But New Kasudo can also have the basement item locked behind some magic containers and the spell tower. Now, this is interesting, though, because Knight he came down into the east the way that Para has done now, but Para, having hit the area of the east that she did first, was able to see the desert tile earlier than Knight was, and that is where our medicine's at. Now, Knight is making his way through these encounters. He should be able to make it through this one. The first one, it looked like, was the tougher one. The tougher encounter tends to have the generators in there. We did see the bubbles in the previous encounter, so he's likely not going to have any problems with this one, unless there's some trolly scorpions and whatnot in here, which are always a possibility, or Zoras, oh my god, or Tektites, oh my god. Well, he handles it. Jump spell. No gravity, handles it. Here's Risen P-Bag Cave. This is going to be spell for Knight here if he wants it. And then he'll be able to find the desert tile just west of here. And he'll have his medicine as well. So coming back to just a few minutes ago, Knight, first to the east, doing exploration, chose the area to explore first. Unbeknownst to him, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just some guesswork. Here's our child. So there you go. There's our child in the east. Not blocked behind anything too hard. But anyway, Knight first to the east, did the exploration, but went such a way to where didn't get rewarded all that much right off the bat. Had some information for sure, and then had to make his way back to where Para did, who showed up second to the east. But Para found medicine first, was able to already go back to Mito and turn it in, and is now back to where Knight was just a moment ago, and is making further progress on the east now. Finding the child, we know it's Child Thunder, and so, yeah, Para probably has the slight lead at this point in time, or we might get trolled in this, we might get trolled in this Risen P-Bag Cave by an invisible Moa or two. No, I think we're going to make it. Life 5's doing pretty well, pretty strong against that Moa. So did we see a 3-eyed rock yet? Did we see a second palace, other than whatever might be in Death Valley over on the east? I don't know if we did. There's our medicine for Knight. This is just going to take Para back up north. I think this is not... I think we should be headed south at this point. Ooh, that fire from a scorpion hitting pretty hard there. Although, that might be good information for Para. I don't know if Para saw 3 or 6. I think she did, though. So Knight is unfortunately going to have to head back down south through the double Druiding encounter, or it looked like there was a pass through just to the west of where this was, but he does have all of his health back, so that's good. The other thing is, though, you see that lever that's popping up. You see that lever, just if he doesn't take care of that lever, it's going to be easily problematic here in the moment where it's going to be popping up in thin air as he's trying to get across things. He's got one more chance to get hit by it, and he survives. Okay. If you don't take care of those levers, when you see them just appear in thin air like that, the randomizer doesn't... I don't know if the game actually has, like, terrain data in the sense to like where the ground starts necessarily. It does sometimes, but other times where it seems to spawn an enemy, that enemy seems to just want to be at that elevation the entire time, as we're seeing another lever there pop out of the sky. So those are kind of scary because those things hit like trucks and they will just appear out of nowhere. So if you get a chance to take care of those before they get away from you again, I would recommend taking care of them sooner than later. Knight up in A's, back to start, probably to go get his fairy spell as well. As Para continues to walk around here, that's a super troll right there. That little weird area looked like it almost went through on each side, but it didn't, as the mountains were just slightly cutting us off there. Knight may have forgotten exactly where Mito's at. I'm not sure. Might have a different plan altogether, though. It happens, though. You see a town early on, you're like, where did I see Mito? Where exactly was that? It's easy to sit in the audience or in the commentary booth and be like, I know exactly where everything's at, because I'm not under the pressure of performing in combat. I'm not under the pressure of really having to remember where things are. It just so happens where I do remember where Mito's at. Remembering where things are is, well, in this case, Royale with cheeses. That's her job. Which she does a phenomenal job at. Everyone, round of applause. Royale with cheese on tracking. We're just going through Jump Cave again. We're going to be finding Old Casuto here on Parasite. This is going to be our Fire Town. That's what it is. We'll see if we still don't have Magic 5, so I don't know if we want to be going in palaces or not, either one of our runners here. We'll see if Knight, if it is really 54, I haven't gotten a second check on that. If it is really 54, then we might see Knight jump into some palaces here. Again, having one palace 1 and 2 and downstab. Everything really kind of available to us to make palaces pretty easy. Jump in there. Harry going to be turned into the Child for Thunder. Didn't know. Doing some slide technique there. I think that was dancing. Some dancing in the Zelda 2 world. Happy that she has the child, able to turn that in for Thunder immediately with the jump spell and the fairy spell as well. We'll also see an upstab pickup, I imagine. Oh, so fairy is 30 at Magic 4. Actually, we got 2 casts of it. Neither one of our runners opting to jump into palaces, though, with 2 casts of fairy. Just doing some exploring at this point. But I would imagine that we will see some palace digs very early. You have to imagine that your opponent is also in palaces at this point, especially with such a cheap fairy cost at Magic 4. Yeah. I assume Knight wants to up an A out of here. He maybe has other plans. Okay, there's the up and A. Still looking for our second open palace, if we have an open palace here on the east. We've seen 3 and 6 in the north. We're hoping to find either a 3-eyed rock, which will tell us we have a palace that's locked behind the flute, or we'll see another open palace. And then, of course, the third palace is always going to be in Death Valley. We know it's not GP. GP's on the west. And here we go, palace digging for Knight. Fantastic. This is what we love to see. Sub 35, P1 entry. Getting a little trolled by the little Goomba here. AKA Juggler, AKA... what do they call them? I forget. They have an... I don't remember what they're called. They have a weird name. Chewies. People call them Chewies. I don't know. I don't know. Triple Dripper room, though, for Knight. We like these. This is always a fun room. That thing. Go east to find something. Is that what that woman told us? And I didn't see how many magic containers we needed. I was trying to see if we're going to get a kill on those blue Iron Knuckle Drippers from Knight's side. 5 magic containers. So this could be a magic container here in the basement. Not this basement, the next basement, the spell tower basement. Unless we can't cast spell. We're getting some quick checks of our... I can't... The checks into the spell menu are too fast. 51 for spell. Okay, so we can cast it. We'll get a spell tower check here. Could be our 5th magic container, which then we'll walk back to the first house, get in there, and see what's in there. Magic key. That's absolutely delicious. Para is in phenomenal shape, but we still have 2 casts of fairy, even at 64 magic, and there's no reason to be casting any other magic right now until we see Palace 4, because then we'll need Reflect. We'll need a cast of Reflect. But other than that, it's all fairy casts. No reason to waste anything on shield. We don't have the life spell, so... Death for Knight here on this sometimes tricky room if it's got some certain enemies on it that are difficult to jump over. Usually you could just pin them up against that lip as you're moving backwards, but there it is. So we do have a 3-eyed rock. We're going to need that flute. Flute at large. There's our water tile. Fantastic. So we're going to get all our checks other than basement, which is 5 magic containers. This could be a magic container here. We did get a hint for something. Hammer. So that means Raft is open on Death Mountain at this point. If we find Hammer Cave and Spec Rock, both of those locations available to check. We've got the hint for the Raft in Death Mountain. I don't know if Para has that. I forget exactly who showed that to us. Maybe both of our runners have that hint. But otherwise, it looks like Raft potentially takes us to Maze Island. We haven't seen another Raft tile just yet, I don't believe. So my gamble is on Raft Maze Island as Knight places his first gem here, 38 minutes into the seed. I don't know if we saw the item in P1. If not, we might be digging back into it. Glove is still kind of chilling somewhere, and it could just be sitting here in P1. There's no reason to skip out on these palaces right now when you've got very important items that are still in the pool to be picked up. Now, Knight doesn't know that he's going to need a flute. But at this point, as long as the glove is still at large, he's very likely going to be digging palaces. And so if he comes across that flute in a palace somewhere, then that'll be good news for him. He might not think he needs it at first, but he won't fully know until he realizes there is a 3R rock that's down here in the southern section of our vanilla-like east. Okay, so we do have a cave to Maze Island. Okay, so we do have potentially Maze Island is cave or raft, as we semi-predicted early on could happen. So in reality, all we're really looking for is the glove at this point. So with that knowledge, with Para having that knowledge, Knight not having that knowledge, Knight might be tempted to go into Death Mountain to just do a quick spec rock check and maybe a quick hammer cave check if he can, and look for that raft. And he might be tempted to do just that. Now this is, again, talking about this earlier, the benefit of kind of sticking around on the east to get this information, to know, to get the bigger picture on what you need as the runner, knowing that you need the flute. Good to know, especially because it's required. Knowing where the thunder spell is at, if it's locked behind something like the child, and knowing any other little bit of information, how to access Death Valley, things of that nature. Here's our item room for Knight. Game over for Para in the east. Back to the start. We'll see if she starts taking some palaces. Also, fire is thunder. Okay. Easy game. Let's go, folks. Give me the glove. Give me the flute. Let's go. What do we got here in Horsehead? All right, trophy shield if Knight wants it. Might be worth the pickup. Might be worth the pickup. It's not that far from start. I think it's just east from start. And then, of course, P2 is somewhere. P2 is right here, east from start as well. Fantastic. So we've got Rudo just north of there. P2 right here. Para walking past P1 says, no, I don't want to hang out in the stable with Horsehead. The longer we spend outside of palaces, though, this is potentially bad for Para. I don't know the reason to not be wanting to dig in the palace, especially with the magic key and 2 cast of fairy. I mean, there's nothing that's going to stop you other than a glove block, but we know that P1 is safe, at least from Knight's side, to reach both Horsehead and the item. Yeah, Para potentially, as Royal pointing out in chat, Para potentially doing some boulder breaking here, looking for other caves. Do we have any caves that we don't remember seeing? Did we see Medicine Cave early on? I don't know if we saw all 5 caves. There's 5 caves and 1 grass tile on the west, and I don't think we saw all of them. Okay, so Medicine Cave, Trophy Cave still at large on the west. Fantastic. That could be our glove. That could be really anything. Oh, Knight is already out of... That was fast. Already out of P2. Was that a glove block in P2 that I completely missed? What a fast move. Right back to start. Right over to the east. Right into this 3 or 6. Wow. Double Doom Knocker right in the beginning there. Gets boomeranged by the mace. Wants to go high. Wants to go left. P6 it is. As we can see from the windows. Each palace is going to have its own unique window that you can identify it by. In addition to its pillars and, of course, its boss. But if you don't see the pillars, or you miss the pillars, or in the case of 3 and 6, they have the exact same pillars, you can tell them apart from either the boss or the windows. We'll see if this left gamble pays off for Knight, whereas Para digs into Medicine Cave and only finds a P bag. Looks like a dead end for Knight over there. So So the left not going to be the play. Once again, leftists angry. Angry that right is the play. That's all right. We've all seen people win off taking lefts, so that's usually a GP thing, though, and not necessarily a standard Palace thing. So it looks like we are going to get a check in Death Mountain here from Paraside. Again, having the hammer allows us to clear everything out of here. Hammer Cave, Spec Rock. Spec Rock's going to be pretty easy to find. We just got to walk around with this island's biome and try to find the rock just sitting somewhere. We've got our boots, so water's no problem. Yeah, so what we're looking for is we're looking for caves that kind of stick out as if they don't have I don't know what you want to call it, just like a sister cave. Here's our item room in P6 for night. Just a heart, but always nice to have a little bit more life. Not going to keep going left at this point. But anyway, when it comes to looking for these caves, what we're looking for, our caves are linear, so they're going to attach to another cave facing in the opposite direction. Something that's new to the 4.0 randomizer. I say new, it's kind of air quotes at this point. This update came out last January, so it's been a while that we've had this, but some people remember the old school version of the randomizer where the caves just kind of connected wherever they wanted to connect, and it made it kind of a nightmare to move around Death Mountain at times. And so, yeah, nowadays we have a flag that allows the caves to connect logically in the direction they're pointing. And that is generally what we play with these days. More often than not, 99% of seeds are played with this flag turned on. But as we can see, a bunch of caves. If you have 3 caves facing south and 3 caves facing north, there's a good chance that those caves will just simply connect to each other, and there's no real reason to check them unless you suspect otherwise. More often than not in an islands biome like this, you tend to find Hammer Cave kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. As I say that, as we walk into one that kind of looks like it blends in. So either way, more often than not, again, I'm sticking to that. Those are my words here. You can quote me on that. More often than not, Hammer Cave will stick out and you'll be able to see it. It'll be pretty apparent. It'll be sitting kind of on its own island somewhere, or it'll just be really just on an island with other caves that are facing the complete wrong direction and have no connecting cave on the other side. Pretty easy to find it, but again, it can be placed anywhere. So as we see, as Paris shows us, it was kind of placed in the middle of a bunch of other caves. And gets trolled by the Octorok on the middle platform, sent into the lava there. Didn't find a Spec Rock though first, did we? I don't think we found a Spec Rock, and that means that the first dig into Hammer Cave here means we're going to want to walk out of Hammer Cave and then go find the rock, which is sometimes, it really all depends on where the two are located from each other, but you have to think that however long it takes to get into these caves is going to take the same amount of time to get out of these caves for the most part. There's our raft though, so I don't know if we'll stick around for a Spec Rock check. Then again, that could be our glove, so I would probably stick around for a Spec Rock check. Might finding a loop here back to the item room. Might be worth checking to see if this is an actual drop room here. This is P6 after all, and I have not been tracking where Knight's been going exactly. So I don't know what he's got still available to him. I think this is potentially just one-sided up here. No, okay, he still has a right up here. And there's the dragon immediately. Wow, right there trolling him as he steps off the edge. It can be a little tricky. Pretty sure Knight is playing on emulator. It's always a little bit more input lag on emulator. That little one tile jump that is required there can sometimes mess you up if you got a little input latency on your emulator. Second jump into the lava. 1 life left. Not too that far in to the palace though, so not too bad. if we do take a game over here. I don't think we saw any flute hints at all. I don't believe so. As here's Spec Rock with a magic container. That does give us access to the basement, so that could be where our flute lies. Our first magic container. There's our raft. It does not take us to Maze Island. There is not a double connector. It is simply just, wow, okay, so the cave that Para found in the east, only way to Maze Island. Still no exploration there, though, correct? It's Maze Island is usually a pretty delicious place to dig. As Knight does get Barbara down very nicely, gets a level. Going to be double level on Barbara here. Enough for Fairy, getting through, no problemo. Let's go. 1 and 6 down. Again, I don't know if we saw a glove block in P2. Apologies if that was already reported to me. But we did get a quick dip out of P2, so I imagine it wasn't anything other than a glove block at that point, is what I'm guessing. Yeah, so that could have been a thing as well with Para having not been back to Maze Island. Again, a lot of people like to just call it like Treasure Island because you get 2 free items there. And we already knew that the palace wasn't GP, although it could have been Palace 4, but I think she had Reflect by then anyway. And the magic key, so that would have been very nice. If that is where the glove is at, then that would have been a huge play, having found the child before finding Darunia to turn that in and not have to spend the time double dipping Darunia, having found the magic key in Spell Tower, having found 3-Eyed Rock and knowing about the flute, having found possibly the glove in Maze Island. These are all huge plays that Para had huge advantage on if she could have executed on that. Unfortunately, both of these boulder blocked caves we have on the west are full of nonsense. So this is where Knight could potentially make up this time if he either forgets about these caves or he has found all the other items that he needs already. He won't be screwing around in these other caves. But there's a few things still left on the table: the flute, the glove, and at least a magic container, possibly from Knight's perspective. So he will likely be looking around in as many spots as he can find. I forget if this is the hammer here in Risen? Or is that the hammer on Water Tile? Could have been either. Child in Risen. Child in Risen, we'll say hammer on Water Tile. So yeah, Knight just needs to keep going south, find Nukasudo, get the Any Key. Doesn't have 5 magic containers though, and we know that's not going to come from anywhere other than Spec Rock at the earliest. So that wasn't a bad choice to make, especially if this is the glove or the flute. I mean, that's going to be required at this point. But then again, with 4 other magic containers out in the wild somewhere, you know, there's you start with 4, there's 8 total. There's always 8 total in the randomizer. And so there's always going to be 4 more found somewhere. With as fast as we're exhausting these item location checks, we can expect the other 3 to just be simply in a palace somewhere. And Knight is digging palaces, so he will likely find his 5th magic container as well, without the need to go back to Spec Rock. And we know that the raft is useless at this point, so that's just another thing that's beneficial, that he needs to get down here and he needs to see Maze Island, and he'll probably dig it when he sees it. Almost taken to death, though, hoping to not get hit by these. Oh! Makes it. All right. Unfortunately, might take a bop in here. Bubbles are kind of trolly. 3 bubbles in a row. Still not dead. Knight hanging on. Dress is wet. Zelda's dress pushing through this swamp. Disgusting. Here we go. Can he dodge? He's encountered. Okay, spoke too soon. There was a tutorial in the movie Dodgeball. There was a tutorial. There was the old guy with a wrench. And there was, dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge. Definitely helpful in a situation of these Wilson encounters. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a Wilson encounter. Para going back into, I believe this is Nukasudo here. Yes, it is. Going to be checking the basement. Both of our runners hanging out in Nukasudo together. Probably going to get lunch. The new Casino Cafe. No, just a magic container in Grandma's basement. Glove, flute, still at large. Let's get in those palaces, Para. You got no palaces down. 53 minutes into the siege. You have 2 casts of fairy. You have 3 casts of fairy now. You have the magic key. I don't know what we're doing on Para's side. We need to get in palaces. We needed to be in palaces 20 minutes ago. She doesn't have, I mean, maybe she'll find, maybe she's going to Maze Island. Maybe that is, again, where the glove is. Maybe both of those items are glove and flute. Who knows? If they are, she'll be in business. If they're not, they're going to be in a palace somewhere, and we need to get that information from palaces, especially because we know P2, well, we know, I assume, very much so, that P2 was glove blocked, and that's why Knight did not dig it any further. Para, is this a good experience encounter that Para wants to grind off of? I see. Looks like a 400 right there. No, okay. That looks more like 1,000. Okay. Or yeah, 300, 300, 200, yeah. 700, 800, 800. Or whatever, and whatever the Tektite's worth. 70, okay. 870 and the bot. Yeah, when the Lizalfos are stuck in the ground, you just stab them in the face. All right, so Knight back to the west. Did Knight not find Maze Island? That could be detrimental at this point, because that's kind of a dig back to get to the southern side of the east here. That could have been huge, huge information that Knight is not going to have. Oh, Knight still needs Raru for Reflect. Oh, that is... I'm trying to think, is that what was north of GP? No, Jump Cave leads to Mido, and that's where the two... because Knight was first to show us this, then he game overed, and then he went back through there. I think it was north of Mido. I think it was north of GP is where Raru was. Interesting that we didn't find Raru. That could be potentially bad from his perspective. But he knows he needs Reflect. He knows that it's not going to be Thunder and Raru. Okay, we're back to Maze Island as well on Para's side, looking for some items. We got the boots. We find the river. We can do some better exploration on the river. But sometimes the river is not an amazing spot in Maze Island, so sometimes you do have to hoof it throughout all these little pathways. So yeah, both of our runners, given the information we have, it's obviously pretty easy to just sit here and be like, well, here's what they should be doing. Other than I'm holding firm on my statement that Para should have been in palaces quite a while ago with 2 casts of fairy, and even after finding the magic key, that was huge. But anything else is kind of subjective on how you want to play something, and really how you interpret whatever information you have. And again, sometimes as a runner, I'm speaking specifically from myself as well, is that when you're playing in a tournament race, you're trying to take in as much information as you can. And there'll be times where you can really hold so much information in short-term memory and something gets pushed out and you completely forget about it, especially things that you run into very early on in the game. And there is our flute just hanging out in Maze Island. We're still looking for the glove. Is our second item going to be the glove here? It is entirely possible, as unfortunately Knight is back into these item caves that Para has already shown us are nothing. P-Bag and Medicine Cave, 1-up in Trophy Cave, not worth our time. But Knight not knowing that, it's something that's on the list. It's something that's on the shopping list. You can't fault anyone for, going down the list, because guess what? If the items were here and he skips those, then, you know, we would have the complete opposite narrative of why are you not going to these places. So surely, you know, you can't operate on the information we have as a whole, just the information that Knight has right now. There's our glove. Glove and flute sitting on Maze Island. Big money. Treasure Island definitely in play today. Get into this palace. What is this palace? P3. Fantastic. Let's go, Para. You're low on magic. Doesn't care. No jar check in the statue. We're good. Got the key, unless we have a fairy block. But other than that, we are well equipped to handle anything this game is going to throw at us. 58 minutes into this seed here. No palace is down, but hopefully Para hits the nitrous button and is able to fly through these palaces ASAP. Yeah, I was wondering if Knight was going to jump back into Death Mountain. Doesn't look like it just yet. A lot of blue here in this step block room. You always want to watch out on this crumbled bridge. You might get trolled at the very end as I speak, and it happens. You get a second generator in that room usually, and the second generator always appears right near the end of the third page and the beginning of the fourth page of the room. And yeah, so it could be Bogos, it could be square wave heads, it could be raw heads. And if you're jumping around like a fool, like I usually am, you get caught by something. Now we'll see if Para wants the cross. She does. This is one of those rooms where you don't want to take a death. Unfortunately, after you open the door, it does despawn it is a known bug. It does despawn the item. So don't get yourself in trouble. Hopefully we can get that bug fixed sooner than later. We'll see, though. There's no ETA on that. Strength and shield reflect for Knight. Fantastic. Now he's ready to push forward. Rebenak for Para here. Hopefully we're going to see a hot corner strat go down. Not quite far enough. Also, very strong attack 5, knocking our injured Rebo off the horse a little earlier than Para probably would have wanted. Probably not a big deal, though. Again, attack 5 doing phenomenal. Rebenak down. Not a sub-hour gem placement, though. Oh, Knight getting a little trolled by the medley of enemies. I don't know what you want to call them. There was a mower coming up behind him. There was the Mew sitting on the platform. He was about to jump on. It looked like he wanted to kind of take the hesitation there, and unfortunately, it had too much momentum going forward. Could not come backwards and ended up in the lava, but gets his life back here in Trophy Cave. So with the flute, it's worth Para just walking out of here, going to Three-Eyed Rock, and see what's underneath there. Was it a Palace 5? Have we seen a Palace 5 yet? I don't think we have. Could be in Death Valley, though. We got 4 and 5 still left out on the table. So this could be 4 or 5, 50-50 chance that 5 is going to be here. It doesn't really matter. Para is very well equipped for this. Only thing that Para might want at this point is the shield spell, which Knight has gotten the trophy for. I don't remember where that was. I think it was in P1, if I'm not mistaken. But didn't opt to turn it in. I don't think Knight turned it in for in Rudo for the shield spell. Yeah, we're headed over to the Three-Eyed Rock. We're going to see what we've got here. Knight opting for a Death Mountain dig and P5 here in Three-Eyed Rock for Para. We'll see how trolly this is in terms of layout. P5 is going to be one of our largest palaces, but that doesn't mean that Gooma is going to be deep in. However, it could also mean that Gooma is very deep in. We'll just have to wait and see. And Knight is seeing the raft tile there, so he's gotten information that raft is not that important. If he finds the rock first, he'll get his magic container and he can leave. He can leave. I believe Knight did get the hint for the raft in the east. I could be wrong on that, though, but I'm pretty sure he did. And if he did, and if he remembers it, then he will just dip out of Death Mountain, and that'll be that. He does see the rock, and he's going through this encounter, which is probably faster than walking around. I don't blame him. Pretty easy encounter as it is. And it's going to spit him right out by the rock, and he'll be able to check that, get his magic container, and hopefully be on his way, as Para's in a dead end. Up an A's, and we're going to pick a different direction. Looks like Knight might be sticking around. Might be looking for Hammer Cave at this point. I don't remember exactly where it's at. It is south-facing, though. Gets trolled by the Spec Rock. It's happened to all of us, as you just forget that that's a drop into a little item room there and walks on top of it. Happened to me plenty of times. It's especially trolly when the rock appears in desert. So far in this P5, we've got a little bit of linear dig. Looks like either a drop room or yeah, it is a drop room here for Para. So we'll see how far this goes down. Just one room, and here's going to be our first real branch, I believe. I believe straight right out of off of the entrance was simply that dead end, and then left to let into the drop, and then here we are. Got ourselves a four-way elevator here. It could be the answer to where Goomba lies. Not at the bottom. Gotta check the top. Gotta check the top. Maybe Para knows something we don't know. Nope, dead end. All right, going back. Probably going to check the top now. Not too punishing of a choice to make. Knight about to get his raft here, and he says no, as the tracker lights up and dims back down appropriately. Here's Goomba at the top, as I called it. Oh, Knight says, yes, I do want the raft, actually. I'm going to just retire and be a sailor. We did see the raft tile, though. Knight saw the raft tile on Death Mountain. Of course, both of our runners have passed by it on the south section of the west. Getting a little beat up by Goomba here. Have to do a cast of life. Didn't see how much it refilled, but seems to be enough that where Para had plenty of time, plenty of, at least a hit left at life 7 there to take down Goomba. Second palace down, 5 minutes after the first. Keep this trend going, and we'll be at 90 minutes by the time we walk into GP. Fantastic. Well, P1's likely going to take a lot less time. Having the glove, be able to push through P2. We are probably going to go back into Death Valley here. That's going to completely clean out the east, and so there'll be no reason to come back here. Oh wait, we still have. I'm sorry, we still have 6 all the way at the top. I forgot that the first palace was on Maze Island, so depends on. Well, I would still do that. I would still hit up Death Valley, ASAP, get in there, up an A. The connection to the east is right next to the North Palace where you start. And then you can just walk over along the northern section over to 6. And that'll be much easier than having to go into Death Valley, come out of Death Valley, and then go to 6. So we'll see how Para routes it, but that is essentially what you would likely want to do. Yeah, we did see Death Valley. I think it's up through the double Durian encounter and just west from there. I think it was... No, it's not. It's actually in the middle section. We did see Knight show us it first as he came into the east, and then Para trailed down in that area as well. So this is... Unless this wraps around it, I don't think it does, at least through the middle section here. I think we're blocked off. I think we'll see Death Valley, but we're not going to be able to get to it. I'm pretty sure the only access point is going to be down from the... middle section, the middle pass through from the north, or the western pass through from the north. Oh, Knight digging around DM looking for a connector cave. Unfortunately, down in the south there, down in the south of the east. That's interesting. I wonder where he feels he was blocked at, because it didn't look like, Para followed in his footsteps. I don't remember if he game overed in the east and then came back to the west, or if he up and ate out of the east. I don't remember what that was. But he ended up back on the west, and then he started digging palaces, if I'm not mistaken. And Para didn't really seem to show us any actual roadblocks. I mean, it's going to either be, again, with our 3 segments on our vanilla-like east, it's going to be connected via the one-tile walkways or those pass-through caves. And they're all going to be, in this case, facing north and south. So he might have just missed something off the corner of the screen. I don't have the exact layout of the continent in my mind at the moment. But It didn't seem like Para had any trouble getting down here. She's been down here twice now, and I don't remember any real twisty-turny, trolly methods of getting down here. So there, she does see Death Valley, but on the wrong side of it though. And she's from where she's at. She's got to go north to the north through this cave to the north section, then come down south through a cave, and then be able to hit Death Valley. Probably might even be a little bit faster to just go back to start at this point. Yeah, especially so because this is a 2-screen cave. Not like it's a hard cave though, but it's not a big deal. Not everyone's trying to squeeze the absolute most speed out of their run. That can be a little stressful at times, trying to make those types of decisions. Yeah, but she needs to head south down through here, I believe. If not, there's even another southern pass through, I think. So Knight back to the west, sees that up in A's, remembers that, hey, this is right south of Saria. There we go. Here's Death Valley for Para. She does have the cross, so if we see Moas, if there are Moas, we'll see them, so no big deal. No fairy feeding. We're going to body some damage. Looks like just 1 heart container from the scorpions, half heart container from the bats. No big deal. Although we won't be able to do that in the next encounter if we have the same type of enemy set. Unless we get a cast of life in there. I don't think we have enough for life and fairy. No, we don't. Sunken P-Bag Cave for Knight here. Have we seen this on Knight's side already? I think this is the candle. Not Sunken P-Bag Cave. That was cave number 2 of a 2-screen cave that we just saw a moment ago on Paras that I commented on. It's got the same, in my defense, it is the same layout of Sunken P-Bag Cave, which is probably why I was a little confused. That's why we're back in there. So we got P4 and Death Valley. Easy mode. We just got to find Karak, cast the Reflect spell, and then just crouch in the corner. This is just going to be a decorative dead-end room and this elevator for Para, though. Not getting a little lucky there, getting over that scorpion, not taking any fire to the face, although he was kind of trying to pet the thing for a while. It's a little tricky, though, and the scorpion blocks the corridor. A little tricky to get through there. We got a drop room. I almost wonder if we wanted to make that jump. Oh, it drops right into itself, unless it's a duplicate of itself, then that would be a little bit of a troll. I wouldn't put it past Karak to build a palace like that. Is this our item room? This is our item room in 4 here. Magic container, heart container, what's it going to be? Heart container it is. Up an A, and I guess a left at start is in order. Not here, though. This is dead ends on both sides. All right, so Knight did find his way to Maze Island. He's digging around. He's going to find his flute and his glove. Interestingly enough, Knight might still be in this here. Still has P1 and P6 down. P1 not a particularly difficult or long palace. So if Para does get trolled in here, which might be it might be hard to do. Again, a lot of runners, myself included, just tend to route kind of the natural, let's just check to the right first, find the dead ends, and then go left. So unless Knight takes some gambles, which I guess he did take a gamble in P6 earlier, going left before he went right, and he found the item, although he did find a loop back to that spot. So unless he continues to take gambles moving left, which may be the play, especially here in P4 at least, he's likely just going to trail in the footsteps of Para, because he's going to take a hot minute to get back into palaces. He finds his flute, still needs to find that glove here, second item, and then it can be in the P3, which is sitting right there on the river. Rebanak, good tastes on where to build the palace, right there on the river. Para getting a little beat up by the square wave head, says, no, not today, cast the Fire Thunder. I believe Knight has fire as well. Have we gotten a fire check on his side? I don't know. Sometimes runners forget about the fire spell, and there's his glove, so that's nice. Again, we'll see. Oh, it looks like we are back to this, and this is not going to be a troll. This is the same room that did drop into itself. I don't know what Para missed going left, but this is going to be the item room again. We can only pick it up once, so a second visit to the item room is not going to be worth our time. Into P3 we go for Knight. We know that Rebanak's not too deep in. I think he's just got to pick the right way, and that'll be easy. That's usually what the randomizer comes down to, right? Is just pick the right way, and it's simple. Yeah, Big Pig, I said that earlier, and it doesn't seem like it is, because she dropped the first time and then opened the door, and then the second time she made the jump, and then the door wasn't there. I was concerned about that, though. Yeah, we've all seen something like that happen before, and then you just totally turned around. So we're going down, and is this not the same room? Is it not the same room? Did she drop again last time? Was there a Mago here before? Am I miscounting where we are, what we're actually doing here? Oh, there we go. So it is 2 back-to-back. She just happened to drop the last time as well. Totally threw me off. So there you go. 2 drop rooms on top of each other like that. Knight saying no to the cross. Fairy room here for Para. Easy Rebanak location for Knight. He'll be placing his 3rd gem before Para places her 3rd gem. Although, based on this, got to go high with the fairy spell. Can't break those blocks on the bottom. If Knight doesn't fall into the drop right away, this seems like this is going to be the right way to Karok. So he might save a good chunk of time in P4 if he doesn't get turned around and try any of the weird lefts we just talked about him possibly trying. And we're gonna skip the elevator check. Although we might be back after this check. Dead end here, so immediate elevator check afterwards. Unfortunately, a death to Rebanak on Knight's side. Right into Karok. So there it is. So as long as Knight doesn't take the drop that he sees immediately going to the right in P4, and he doesn't take any gambles going left, he's just simply going to run into Karok's elevator going down. So that'd be a quick P4. He can't get on, Rebanak's going to be reading our input here. So Rebanak's usually going to run off the screen, although Knight does bring him back on. Very nice. Takes it down. 3rd gem. We're going to be placing our 3rd gems for both of our runners. Very similar times. Para likes the left side there a little bit better. I see her using left side crouching strats on Karok. If you were to ask me why we use the right side, I'm not entirely sure, but I guess it's technically faster to get to the right side and closer to the gem afterwards. So I just follow what the vanilla folks do. Knight also going to do the same thing, back out of here, going to P5, which with his flute under 3-eyed rock. I believe you're right, VT Slacker. I didn't want to. I have no stats to back that up, though. Being safer on the right-hand side. I think you're right, though. So Para back to the east again, and has to just head to the southwest corner. I mean, the northwest corner here. That's going to be her P6. Drossi in chat asking if Para's going to max out levels or burn gems. I don't think Para likes to burn gems. I think that's a kind of a flex thing that the top runners like to do. You know, when you're just good, you don't want to waste any more time. It's all those are the stressful speed, the time saves. Those are the stressful time saves that the top runners like to do. Although not everyone likes to do that. Not everyone likes to do that. So it is kind of a flex thing. Yeah, I think a lot of people like the 888 as close as they can get to 888. But if you can burn a few gems, that does save you, 15, 20-something seconds, probably 30 seconds. I mean, we've seen races come down pretty close. Then again, the argument tends to be that if you don't go in with higher levels, Thunderbird might be tougher, might take longer. The enemy sets in the palace, in the final palace, might hit you for more. You know, you'll have more magic, lower magic costs overall. So, and that's going to be a jackhammer Barba very quickly, but into a lava bath. Barba is dead at this point, but you won't get the experience from killing the dragon. Doesn't really matter. Wouldn't have given us enough to get a level. So we're just going to take the bag and place our gem. And that was a quick Barba. So P6 not going to be slowing down Para. It did slow down Knight a little bit though. So Para made up good time in P6, whereas Knight went down and left to find the heart, and then down and right, and then finally came back and just held right at that I junction, which was the dragon. Yeah, Knight needs to go. Oh, is Knight? Oh, no, he's in P5. So yeah, he takes the drop. This is our first real junction. I remember talking about this earlier where it just went right. I don't think we ever saw left from Para, because I think this will eventually just lead very quickly to, what's his name? Guma. Sorry, he's a very forgettable boss. So our first look at P2 here from Para's side, we'll get to see the glove block that scared Knight out of here. And at least we assume. I didn't see it. The alleged glove block. There it is, right here in this room. There's a quick Guma for Knight. Let's go, Knight. Does not have the shield spell, I don't think. Again, I'm pretty sure he didn't go back into Rudo to get it. So we're going to be taking full damage from the flail. Not really a fun time. Life 6. One hit is just over 3 heart containers, so he gets 3 hits and he's dead. Get a little close to that flail. Not too far in, though, so if we take a death... What's funny here is Para keeps dropping down in this room, and you can just walk left on the ceiling. I make that mistake in GP all the time when I drop onto the ceiling of the L7 room, or the reverse L7 room, and I drop down sometimes to the actual floor and then walk out, whereas you can just walk out from the ceiling. Oh, we're trying to do a little corner on the strat on the side of the screen strat here. A little despawn the flail. It might be the way to go about things now, especially with only 1 life remaining. That was pretty close. Saw the flails respawn there for just about 1 or 2 frames. But attack 4 also might not be confident that it's going to hurt Guma all that much. Dead end room here for Para. This is our first look at P2, so not sure exactly what the answer is just yet. Knight almost got him down here. Looks like a few more hits. 3, maybe 4 more. There's 2. This might be it. 3. 4. And King Hippo is down for Knight. This is essentially the Nintendo universe is completely together. People don't realize this, is that when Guma failed at being the guardian of Palace 5, he just becomes washed up King Hippo in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And I don't care what year these games came out. It doesn't matter. This is definitely the timeline. Looks like we're going to be going up to Death Valley. We got to go straight north from here. We got to go straight north from... Don't take the same path Para took. You got to save some time, Knight. You got to go straight north. No, it's on the west side of this mountain. It's on the west side. No. Oh, he can get through up here. Go. Fantastic. He sees the corner of Death Valley. Did I say Death Mountain earlier? Death Valley. He sees the lava, and he's going to come up this way, whereas Para spent a little bit of time trying to find this place, going kind of the wrong way, getting looped around, but eventually found it. Still no helmet head, although it could be at the top of this elevator. At the top of the elevator. At the top right of this elevator. Oh, we have an item room. So, I don't know. Probably not as good as a boss room, but we'll check it. This is the fun fact. This is the one community item room that you can actually see the item on the pedestal or the altar before you open the door. So if you don't have a key and you don't want to burn fairy spell there, you just right up against the door there. You can see the very edge of the item. And if you don't want it, if it looks just like a blue jar, well, don't waste your fairy spell on it. That's really only relevant to early game searching, though. Exactly. D-Bean saying that the enemies that chuck maces are basically Hammer Brothers. We've got the mace throwers, and we also have the little Goombas, which chuck the I like to call them meat sticks into the air. I don't really know what they are, but the little red guys we were talking about earlier called Chewies as well, that some people refer. They have several names beyond that. It's Little Goomba, the Juggler guys, Chewies, and something else. 3 hits at attack 7 for Helmet Head, and he's down. Easy. And we're into P4 for Knight. He really needs to make up time here. He really needs to not drop into this first drop. He really needs to just fairy or jump over this first pit. Just hold right and then take the first elevator, and that is Karok, and he can get the hell out of here. He's already done with 6. He's just got to clear out 2 and then into GP. And so this could be don't fall. Just hold right. Oh, God. Oh. No, he's going to think, oh. That could have just saved him. It just saved him. Knight on the correct path after making 2 accidental mistakes. Well, little does he know it, but congratulations. Don't die in the Moas. You're going to die in the Moas. The fire just... He survived the fire. All right, fantastic. He's cruising. What's in here? Oh, these guys. He might die. He has sliver of health, and he's kind of tough to dodge at times. Oh, he's going to make it. Knight on fire. This next room, got to take the elevator down. Can't really be deterred any other direction, even if he goes far right as an immediate dead end. He's going to be just going down, right into Karok. Triple room for Para as well. I love to see these rooms. I love to see other players play these. Oh, hot lava, baby. There goes your skin. The best exfoliator, although has a side effect of death. And to be fair, Aaron, the Triple Dripper room is, in my opinion, one of the best rooms. I love that room so much. And Karok down for Knight. Got to place that gem. Horsehead not too far away from where Para is. This could be hot. I don't know where Helmet Head was, so I can't be a cheerleader for Knight in this case. He's just got to find the Helmet Head guy and get out of here. Although Para's got some killer levels moving into this, what will soon be a GP. 7,000 experience. I don't know. We're looking at, what is that, attack 8 at that point? It doesn't have to be attack 8. It can actually be something else. Magic 9 or Life 9 could actually be cheaper than attack 8. All right, so P2 right here for Knight. I don't know if we're going to get that shield pickup, though. That could be beneficial to him with the slightly lower levels than Para moving into GP. Probably going to be entering a little bit behind Para. Para's probably about to find Horsehead very soon here. Again, P1, not a very big palace. And Knight already showed us this, that this, I want to say, definitely leads to Horsehead. Definitely, because here he is. So yeah, that's going to be the 6th gem for Para there. And then GP is just north of here. So she's going to be in GP earlier than Knight. Knight's probably going to be could be up to 5 minutes behind Para. We'll see if there are a bunch of branches. If there are, then it can be anyone's race. If it's linear, Para has the better levels. Para will have more time in there to push through and learn those rooms. Even if she takes multiple game overs at the point, it could be still easily her game. But then again, branches change the game. Para burning gems over here, flexing. Oh, in through Jump Cave. This is not where GP is at. It is just north of P2. So this is a bit of a time sink. All we have up here is Magic Container Cave, I believe Heart Container Cave, and Mido. Yeah, I don't know where Helmet Head is here, so this is going to be really just up to Knight to navigate this one. All right, so Para realizes, whoops, and up an A's. And now it's time to find GP. She must remember it's in the north somewhere, and I think she's just going to come over and go straight north of 2. That is exactly where it's at, through this grassy green area. The most terrifying place in the game, of course, built in the nice green prairie. At least it's got a graveyard behind it. So here we go. 1 hour, 28 minutes, 22 seconds approximately as we walk into GP here. Knight's still looking around for Helmet Head. Hopefully he just sees that item room, kind of skips out on it. I don't think that item was anything important, although I think it was actually a magic level. So we have an immediate dead end, or almost an immediate dead end to the right here. So it's going to be no real gamble at start, I don't think. I think we only had a left and a right. Indeed we did, so left we go. Oh, quick fairy, quick fairy, quick fairy indeed. Recovery, very nice. Those are tricky because while you would normally want to just hold down to block the incoming dip and dot, unfortunately you're on breakable blocks. So you either down stab through the block and actually shield yourself from the dot, or you take the hit and fairy out of there. Unfortunately, Knight also into this item room here. Seems to be following the same path as Para did, but again, that's pretty expected unless maybe some gambles are taken. There was that up and left, which I think is what it is for Knight. In the there's an upside down T-junction elevator with some breakable blocks in there, or maybe it's a left here. I could be wrong. Actually, it's probably a left here. Para wants the jar, gets the jar, moving on. All right, we got a left or right here in the GP item room. No enemies to the right. Usually you see something over there. Sometimes you get trolled by a king bot coming from the ceiling. Into the pit room, just the fairy. There's only ever one enemy in here. It's either going to be a fairy or one hostile enemy. I'd like to see this place packed with blue birds, but then again, I'm not sure I would find that fun to play. So, here's Helmet Head for Knight. All right, fantastic. Approximately 2 minutes behind, little over 2 minutes behind at this point. If Knight walks right in the GP, looking at probably 3.5 minutes, a little less than 4 minutes maybe. Dead end for Para. All right, short dead end at least. Nothing in the... there's nothing here because the king bot despawned everything in the room. So it looks like a left at the GP item room there. Back 2 rooms. Or back right behind us, I believe. We'll see if we get a shield turn in Rudo for Knight. It's right there. It's right north. Nope, he's going to go left, take the graveyard, hit the desert, go north through the prairie. All right, no shield. Same life level, though. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Not same life level. 788 for Para, and looks like 577 for Knight. So there's going to be a good bit of difference here in attack levels. When we're this close, this is where the Thunderbird fight can come into play, depending on how fast we get to it and how fast we get through it. And we've got 2 back-to-back GP item rooms here. So that might be a little confusing to our runners. If we see it from the opposite side, they might be confused and think that they are hitting the room that they just saw. Here's a fairy room, or at least what we call as a fairy room. We're hitting from the opposite side. Otherwise, there's a big drop here that you need fairy to get out of. And we're going to see if Thunderbird's at the top of the elevator. No, but we have a left, and this is a forced fairy room. Para might think if she tries to jump, okay, she's going to fairy. If you try to jump this, you might be inclined to believe that you can make that jump with you can make that large gap with just jump, but you cannot. That's a jump dash gap or a fairy gap. And we do have another fairy room, as we see. That's a community room. There's a bunch of statues on the other side of that with a red jar, possibility for red jar there. Not enough to cast fairy, though, so doesn't go up and left. Going to go down and left into this curtain room. This takes us to another elevator. Knight making his way through a waffle. Literally, I can see his camera. He's eating a waffle while playing. Here's Thunderbird. All right, so not up and left through the fairy community fairy room. So we'll see if Knight doesn't have enough magic either when he hits that room. Otherwise, he might be tempted to go that way, thinking maybe his opponent didn't have the magic to make that play. Takes a death early though, and Para also had to take a death here on Thunderbird. So if Knight can make it here, there'll be 2 screens to the right for Knight. It'll be a dead end. Turn around back to here, left, and then left and down, and then right, and something like that. There's still several rooms to go before Knight gets there. Although, if Para gets trolled here and has to game over, this might be Knight's chance to come back. Oh, takes 2 bops there. Neither one of them running. Never mind. What did I say? Attack 7 makes quick work of Thunderbird. I thought we were gonna have a suspenseful moment for a minute, but never mind that. Unfortunately, cast the jump spell on Knight's side. He needs to just from the floor. You can just walk. You just walk and jump up at your full height and make it up there. Although sometimes they call that the quantum leap, that particular move. That can be tough for some people to execute if you're not familiar with it. So there is a fairy at the back of this. There's Dark Link, literally 2 rooms away from Thunderbird. So easy game, easy GP. Just go the right way. Knight potentially had this one in his pocket here. Para wasted a lot of time not going to the palaces, but with the increased levels and all of the safeties, did not have any problems there moving forward. I'm waiting for an official time here. I don't think she's going to get trolled. Life 8 even gets jumped on here. No big deal. And that is going to be an official race time of 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 58 seconds. So 94.58. I'm sorry. Math. 94.58 for Para. I believe Knight is taking the correct direction here, though. And I'm sure we'll get Para in for an interview shortly. Sometimes you want to just kind of chill out for a moment. Again, this was an 0-2 race between both of these runners. Para is not going to be, I say eliminated. It's not really eliminated. There are still races to play. If you'd like to, moving forward, you still have a potential to change the rankings for future runners moving forward. Even if you don't make the brackets, there is, of course, the bonus spin-off bracket, tournament called the Nabur Invitational. Para with us. Welcome. Hello. GG. How did that one feel?
It was all right.
Just how you spent a long time outside of palaces. You did not place your first gem until an hour into the seed. What was going? Was that a plan? Was that a little bit of a concern?
Power glove.
Just the glove. Okay.
I don't want to go into palaces until I have the power glove, or until I know that it's in a palace, which it usually isn't. So, okay. So I just stayed out and power glove was in the last place in the overworld I looked. So, that was that.
Yeah, we saw Knight placing his first gem at the 30-something minute mark, if I'm not mistaken. That would have been in P1, and then he went into P2 immediately after that, and there was a glove block about 3 rooms in. Then he went into P6, which would have been on the north side of the east, and he was able to do that. Barbara was not too far in. You flew through P6. Unfortunately, Knight took a few gambles on some other directions, found the item, and found a loop, and then went the right way to find Barbara. But those were open, and then after that, he started looking around for some items. I don't think we saw another palace dig from him until after he was on Maze Island, and that was where you began your dig as well, which was Palace 3 there after finding the flute and the glove.
I really wanted it to be reverse boss order. I thought it was going to be, because if it was 6 on Maze Island, then I would have done the palaces in reverse order. But
yeah, that's funny.
Very sad.
But
yeah, sorry.
No, I was going to say, other than that, it seemed pretty straightforward. I mean, everything, looking around in the overworld, this again was one of those seeds where you were rewarded more for clearing the overworld before doing really anything else. Just it came down to how fast you could do that, and then how fast you could get into palaces. and you were at the end of the day just slightly faster than Knight was. He entered into GP. I want to say, I didn't catch the exact time he walked in, but probably about 3.5 minutes after you did.
Yeah, this looks like a close race. I know I spent some time farming levels, mostly as a meme, but partly because I didn't have shield and a lot of heart containers or magic containers. So I was like, well, this could be kind of a dicey Great Palace, so the levels might help. It wasn't really necessary, but it was fun. I wanted to get to 888, but I forgot that the 1-up level supersedes attack 8, so oh well.
Yeah, sometimes you see the magic 9, life 9 roll higher than attack 8.
Yeah, and I died farming, which prevented me from going to Maze Island right away. But I kind of needed, I'm really glad I went to Death Mountain and got the magic container, because I think that would have been rough with only 4 magic containers going through this seed.
Yeah, I forget. I think Knight followed in the same tracks as well. I think he found his 5th magic container in Spec Rock as well, and then also found his 6th then at the basement, and I guess that's all 6 he's got. It just went off screen. So, but yeah, again, other than just kind of walking around in the beginning, you got a little turned around on the west. It seemed like Knight was welcome Knight. We were just talking about the beginning.
GG, Paratroopa.
Thank you.
It's plain and simple. If I hadn't lost Rauru or Maze Island, that I probably would have won that.
Yeah, that's what we were just about to talk about. The early game, you were off to a great start. You saw a lot of stuff. You saw the other side of Saria as you walked around. Harry, you were looking for Bagu, and then you used Bagu to get across Saria.
That was a little bit.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it just wrapped around even from North Palace and the east side of Saria. You could just walk around. It all just met up. And so that was a little time spent there. And that allowed Knight to take off over to the east and see a lot of stuff first. But then, as he said, he did miss Rauru Reflect and getting kicked out. I think you came over in the east, Knight. Is that?
Yeah, I think I came over in east, and I think I came over right as I was leaving. No, I know I did. I up and did after I left Darunia because I got into a battle and I found out that thunder was linked to fire. And I was just like, let's go. If I had just stayed, gone a little more south, I would have found Maze Island. Dang it.
Yeah, the other thing was going south a little bit more. Did you have the knowledge of Three-Eyed Rock at that point as well, or no?
Not yet. I didn't get that until a little later on. So I wouldn't have known the flute was required, but I would have stayed. I would have dug out Maze Island, so I would have had the flute anyways when I came across Three-Eyed.
Yeah. It was nice the way that they worked out. It was convenient, but it was we were thinking about that as well. We talked about that Para, who had made it to the southern section of the East first, had the knowledge of Three-Eyed Rock, knowing we had to have a flute, and seeing Maze Island, and we were still a little concerned on whether the raft also connected to Maze Island along with that cave or not. But then it didn't.
Because early on, when I saw the other side of Saria, I also went south a little and I saw the raft tile.
Right, we weren't sure but at that point we hadn't seen the raft in Death Mountain just yet, as far as I know.
So I showed y'all Death Mountain, which is where the raft connected.
Yeah, I also did Death Mountain, actually. I thought that the raft was going to go to Maze Island to be a shortcut, but it didn't, as very sad.
Okay.
Yeah, it was played very similarly by both of you, other than the fact that Para waited a full hour before jumping into Palaces, getting all the safeties, getting everything, tons of levels in the process. And then, Knight, you were doing the early digging. And like you said, if you had just been able to keep doing that early digging, you would have just kind of, I think, just naturally uncovered and had Reflect from Rauru, just naturally uncovered the seed as it played out as you would have crossed through the east, because you were the first one to Darunia as well to show us that it was Child Thunder. And we're thinking, oh man, it's gonna be Child Thunder.
And then I used fire in that Darunia pass through, and when I saw it was thunder, I was like, oh man, that changes everything.
Yeah.
If I had just not gotten so hyped that I had a way around the child, I probably would have done better.
Yeah, it would have been super close, because even you came into GP fewer attack levels, but slightly lower levels across the board. I think you were like 577. Para, you were 788. And so depending on how GP might have played out, it could have been different. It was a really kind of a short GP at the end of the day.
Thunderbird scared me there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, this GP was a little bit rough. Fire Thunder was very helpful for this. I'm glad I had high levels, honestly.
Yeah, that's definitely where even if Knight would have been able to place more gems quicker, place them earlier in the seed, you still might have been able to speed through it with levels, having just make up that time of being able to pretty much one-shot everything as you come through, being able to cast Fire Thunder a bunch of times and just clear out these rooms. So it would have been, even if Knight would have had the advantage overall throughout the seed of playing through it, that level advantage, the Fire Thunder, the multiple casts, you could have definitely closed that gap just as quickly. And so it could have, it was close. I think no matter which way the cards fell in this one. So yeah, GG to both of you here. And
GG.
Yeah, GG, Para.
I do have one more thing I want to talk about.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Palace 4. What the heck?
Oh. Knight. Hold on. No, hold on. Knight doesn't know. Knight doesn't know. So here's what happened, Knight. Let me just, I'll tell you from your perspective, Knight. You walked in, and the first room to the right in Palace 4 was the pass-through, but also a drop. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you fell in it.
Yeah, and I cursed because I thought, because I got hit by the guy, and I was like, I wanted to jump there. And I was like, and then when I saw it was a fault, I was like, oh, here I go.
No, but then you fell through the second one as well, which was actually a copy of that room. It was a duplicate.
They were get out.
And that messed Para up for a lot in P4.
Oh, I was so confused. I had no idea what was going on. I thought it was a loop.
So that blue iron knuckle actually helped me.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, maybe, because if you have to go through it, did you drop twice or?
He dropped twice.
Yeah, I only dropped once, and I went through to the right.
It was a trip.
It's a different room.
Wow.
No, it was a double. You would have you tried to jump through it, Knight, but then you got hit by the beam. I thought you were going to ferry through it and be safe, but that first room you saw was the answer. It's just that there was a second room below it that wasn't the answer that led to the item room. And then that room looped back into the top one. So it was just two that looped back into each other.
Oh,
and it was a little confusing. Yeah. And
it was really confusing.
I got so lucky with that.
I came back to it. And I'm like, how am I back here? Like, what is happening? And there was there's actually another room in that palace that was also duped. That was also confusing. It wasn't on top of each other, but it was like one of those Palace 6 drop rooms. I think there's two of them. I think, or maybe it's the same one. I can't even remember anymore because I got so turned around by that drop. But I figured it out. I was like, well, maybe that drop is actually on top of a duplicate room. So when I went there, I was like, I think I know what happened, and I got it right. But it confused me for sure.
Yeah, if you go back to that part of the VOD at this point, when you're in there, we make it a point to be like, oh no, he's going to fall. And then you fell again. And we're like, oh, he just saved himself. And it was like, oh my God. And you had no idea. We had no idea. We'd seen Paratroopa by that earlier.
No clue what was going on. And the seed trying to will me back, just not enough.
Yeah. And Para, the way that P6 was, Knight, you were in P6 first. There was an I junction, and Barbara was literally on the top floor to the right.
Oh, yeah.
You went down and left and found the item room, and then down and right, and eventually found a loop back to the item room, and then you went up and right. So you spent a good chunk of time in P6, whereas Para just held right.
Yeah,
and it was right
P6,
to Barbara.
Yeah, P6 got me turned around, and when I eventually found him, I was like, oh, goodness, I only can hope that I was not the only one having issues with P6, which sounds like I didn't.
By the way, is that intended behavior from Barba, where if you jackhammer him and then die, if he's dead, he stays dead?
Yes.
Yes. You miss the experience. It stinks.
Yeah, I didn't need it at that point. I leveled up. I farmed off of the in the southwest corner of Eastern Hyrule. There's two orange Los Alphas, and they're both worth 300. You could just thunder them over and over. I just used that to farm, so I didn't even need the levels. Well, I needed the levels from the palaces, but that's it.
Yeah, there was a blue one there as well, stuck in the ground. He was worth 2, so it was like 800.
It was 800.
and some change because of the Tektite and the bot there. And so that was big
that
money.
was a lot of fun. I just did that just because it was fun. Mostly, you don't get to do that too often.
Well, to talk about the elephant in the room, Para, you are now 1 and 2. You do stay alive. You do have a shot at the brackets with weeks 4 and 5 still left to go. You have a chance to get 2 more wins to make your way into the brackets. Knight, unfortunately, 0 and 3.
I'm in the absolute back corner now. I can still get to 2 and 3 and make the play-in, but it's do or die now.
Yeah, you still have the option to, affect the rankings going forward on, if you can beat someone else and give them a loss, that'll change any rankings going forward. So, you've still got an opportunity to do that if you want that. Otherwise, you still have the Nibiru Invitational that is going to be available to anyone who doesn't make the brackets. And I don't exactly know what the player count is for for the brackets and the Nibiru Invitational off the top of my head, but that is...
I'll definitely be taking place in that if I end up on 4.
Yeah, it's more Z2R fun. If it's what you want, it's what you can.
But if I can still make 2 and 3 and still make that play-in spot chance,
that's true. That is true.
I will race for my life if I have to.
Yeah, this one was super close, and you both played it a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, it was a pretty straightforward seed with everything being available in the overworld, and the fact that you took you left the East a little early. And Paris stuck with the East, even though she was a little behind, just overworld exploration wise, a little behind the going back to the West. It's hard to say, at the end of the day, it wasn't the play based on where the flute and the glove were, but if those were in palaces, it could have been the play. It could have been if the glove was in P1, you would have had it, very early on in the seed, whereas Para would have been digging for it. And so it could have gone either way. And I don't think it was necessarily a bad move to make, especially with the medicine in hand, going back, get the fairy. And, that was the way in the palaces. But then when Para showed us the magic key in Spell Tower, it was like, oh, well, there's another way in the palaces. And so, it was just the way that the seed laid everything out. And just the gambles that were taken and the way that things were played. Rando going to Rando at the end of the day. This one was super close, though.
Oh, Rando's going to Rando. But
both of you.
GG, Para. Good luck.
Yeah, you too.
All right, well, I think that's going to end it for this race. We have another race coming up, though, and I think Psychonauts got something to tell us.
Indeed. Well, GG's to both Paratroopa and to Nightshifter. That was a very close race, very fun to watch. So make sure you go follow them both. Their links and all that are in the chat room there. Thank you to Mariah for the excellent commentary and to Royale for tracking. Please make sure you follow everyone there. But this is not the end of our Z2R action here tonight on Zelda Speedruns. We have another match coming up right now between Warlock 2019 and Tiverius. So we're going to take a quick 5-minute break just to get everything set up. The stream's going to stay up, but it's just going to swap back to the countdown screen. Everybody get up, stretch your legs, grab a beverage of choice, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes with that match. So see you in a bit.